Sam's Garage has been bringing you valuable tips and techniques for years. Master mechanic Sam Madavi is well known for successfully completing hundreds of engine swaps, turbo and supercharger installs, and high-performance engine builds. Sam will share his expertise in automotive diagnostics, saving you time and money. Straight talk and honest advice here on Sam's Garage, presented by Low Car Performance Products.
All right, folks, we're going to be finishing up our wire harness installation on the 67, and I got Dennis with me from Painless Performance once again. And basically what we did was we unboxed it and we laid our wire harness out, and the most important thing is the instruction book, right, Dennis?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you guys have updated that instruction book, and you do it frequently. So you guys, even though you've done one in the past, you want to make sure to look at that book again, just in case there was an update.
This particular book that I brought with this new kit, the Pro Series kit, happens to be 127 pages long. So we want it to be the Bible of the installer. I mean, if there's a question, it's in there. And we also have our tech line.
That is very important. That is good stuff.
But the instructions are key.
For the DIYer at home, they need those instructions. You know, just in case they hit a wall, they don't have to get online, they don't have to go leave their project, they can answer their question right there at the vehicle.
One of the neat things that I get asked all the time across country is, well, I've never done one of these, can I do it? I says, can you read? He says, yeah. I said, you can do it because you're going to read the instructions.
There you go. That's the most important thing, especially doing it the first time, guys. Like, for instance, what we've done here is this bulkhead connector has extra circuits in it that the car didn't originally have. So the bulkhead is going to be a little bit bigger on the firewall. The most important thing, and the first thing you should do when installing something like this, is go ahead and make the hole at the firewall bigger, allowing you to plug in and bolt up that bulkhead connector, and that'll give you a reference point to start unlubing your harness, looking at the legs and see what needs to go to the light switch, what needs to go to the ignition switch, what needs to go to the back. That way you can go ahead and run your wires, make it all nice and neat.
And there's a template in the instruction manual just for that as well.
There you go. And we have wire loom that's been given with the kit as well.
Yes, yes, we have some right here. And it comes as a complete kit or individual pieces. So we have the power braid, which looks like a new braided hose.
Absolutely.
And then we have the classic braid for those people that want the cloth covering look.
Absolutely.
So
make it period correct.
Great stuff. Really finishes out.
And it gives you every size you need to get your job complete. In this particular car, we're going to go ahead and relocate the battery to the trunk. And Painless Performance also has a battery relocation kit that includes 1-gauge power and ground wire with the ends already stamped and soldered in place for good connectivity, and they give you good quality copper inside the wire, and you need that quality because you want to be able to run all the current from that alternator to power up all the extra systems that you put into this car. And the most important thing is when relocating the battery is to make sure that the ground circuit has, 1, a chassis ground, and 2, a body ground, so that everything works properly. So we're going to go ahead and install the bulkhead to the firewall and bolt it in place. This one's a little bit tighter in room because this has a power booster brake setup installed on it. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten the 10mm bolt using a swivel socket and extension, and you want to make sure just to make it hand tight, okay? Now we're going to go through and run our legs, one going behind the engine, powering up the distributor, the starter, and the choke on our carburetor, and the other leg, Dennis.
Yep, headlights, marker lights, turn signals, horn, and so forth on this leg.
There you go. We're going to go ahead and cut it to length, put our connectors on. And one thing when you guys are crimping, when you take a wire and you're crimping it, you don't want to pull off a whole lot of shield. You want to just take enough to go inside the crimp itself, okay? Then when you're taking your crimp and crimpers, you want to make sure that you're looking at the crimp. Make sure the wire goes in your crimp nice and tight, but there's going to be a split in the crimp, okay? You want to find that split, and you want to put the protrusion of your crimper on that split, and that'll give you a nice tight connection, okay? And then you pull on your crimp, make sure it's nice and tight, that'll give you long-lasting performance.
Well, it really looks good, Sam. Looks like you're following the instructions.
And they were awesome instructions, Dennis. We'll be right back with more Sam's Garage.
Sam's Garage, presented by Low Car Performance Products, is brought to you by Low Car. Quality, plain and simple. Heart of Appalachia. Virginia is for lovers. Rod and Supply. We don't just sell them, we race them. H.E.M. Saw. the saw that cuts straight. This is Performance Shop, presented by Tough Stuff Performance Accessories.
We're back with our 1965 C10 project. And this thing is 52 years old. The starter has had better days. The customer has complained to me about dragging on the starter when he starts it up. I've already checked ground and battery cable connections, making sure that they're good, and I've checked everything else on the ignition switch circuit. So what's happening is that the starter is just old. And you guys might think Tough Stuff only has pretty parts, like what you see here. But actually they got OEM replacement parts as well, and they're not remanufactured, they're new. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and install a brand new 3-bolt starter on this particular truck. All right, I got my 2 bottom bolts removed. I got my heavy power cable wire removed. Don't forget, guys, to disconnect the negative battery terminal on the battery before you go up underneath to do the starter. That way you won't create an arc. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove our last bolt. And our last signal wire. You can't get to it with it up in the truck. You have to bring it down, and then you can get to it down here. Okay, we'll go ahead and get that nut off. And this is what pretty much powers up the coil. And there's our starter, okay? Like I said, it's an OEM. It is wore out, probably original, pretty impressive. This is the new Tough Stuff starter, high torque unit, okay? And this looks like OEM, but it's not a reman. This is a brand new unit. These things have been built right here in America since 1979. And they've got different applications for your need. Like for instance, if you had an LS1 conversion in your car or truck, we'll talk about that later. I'm gonna go ahead and install this, and remember, if you have a 12 volt or a 6 volt, you have to make sure to know which one you have, because this is a 12 volt starter. So make sure you keep an eye on that. Installation is reverse procedure of removal. So the first thing I'm gonna do is hook up my last connection I took off, which is gonna be the coil power wire. Now I'm gonna put it right back in its place. This one does not require shims or anything like that. So all we're gonna do is reinstall it in the same manner that we removed it. Okay. Go ahead and get the top bolt started. We're gonna go ahead and take our ratchet, draw it in, making it easier for us to hold and line up the other 2 bolts. That blaster lube really makes a difference on this hardware. I just finger tightened all those back in, whereas before I had to wrench them out. Now, if you guys have like an LS conversion, or you have an LS1, 2, or 3, or even a Silverado with the 5.3, 6.0, Tough Stuff has the starter that you need, which is the 2-bolt version, the newer style, with shims and bolts included in the box. They have them in many different finishes: chrome, polish, stealth black, black chrome, and factory cast plus. The cool thing is that these starters have infinite rotation so that you can put the bulk of the starter anywhere depending on your application. Some of you run headers, some of you don't. The transmissions may get in the way. I've had to use them in the past with my swaps, and they do a great job. Now we're going to be adding a compressor on this vehicle as well, and Tough Stuff has a range of compressors, whether it be an OEM direct replacement or a custom AC application on like a swap setup on a truck or a car. I've had to use this particular AC compressor in many of my jobs. You can see it on the passenger side of a lot of the builds that we've done at Madavi Motorsports. So if you guys are looking for compressors, starters, alternators, anything you may need, don't forget, Tough Stuff, their chrome will get you home.
Here's McKee's 37 Trademark Garage with Nick Rudder.
McKee's 37 Car Care offers a car wax, paint sealant, and paint coating for every budget and every level of enthusiasm. Our ceramic paint coating is a nanoglass formula that fills in all the microscopic pits, pores, and valleys of your paint, leaving the surface perfectly smooth. It lasts up to 2 years. It's a breeze to apply. Next is our high-def paint sealant. High-definition paint sealant is a thick, creamy formula that protects your paintwork for up to 6 months. I always say it's great for the daily driver, or I joke around and say the wife's car, the vehicle that you don't wax as often. We also have 2 spray waxes, our fast wax and our extender spray wax, but my choice is always our trademark Carnauba paste wax. If you're a car guy like me, which chances are pretty good, you enjoy waxing your car on a Sunday afternoon. This is 8 ounces of hand-poured perfection. Ivory Carnauba wax, nourishing oils. It's the best wax that you can buy. It's a breeze to apply and remove. It's a wipe on, wipe off. It's not going to stain plastic trim. After you wax the panel, take a high quality towel and you simply wipe it off. This is not a wax that's going to break your arm removing. It's a breeze to apply and remove, and it's going to give you the best gloss you can. It's so good, Bob McKee put his name on it.
Here at the SEMA show, there is absolutely so much to see, but one of my favorite booths is the Holley booth because I use these products every day at my shop at Sam's Garage. High quality, long lasting, and they perform like no other. I'm here with Shane, and he's going to tell us about the new Sniper EFI unit that they've had new for the market.
This is our Sniper EFI system, Sam. This thing is really cool. It's basically a bolt-on and go carburetor replacement fuel injection unit. You know, with today's fuels and all of that kind of stuff, everybody wants better drivability, easier starting, and those kind of things. This is your solution for that.
And it's compact. You don't have a remote computer to worry about or have to hide somewhere in the engine bay.
That's correct. Basically, you remove your carburetor, you bolt this system on, hook up 4 power wires and ground wires. ECU's mounted right in the front of it here. Fuel pressure regulators in the side, so you got a fuel in, a fuel back to the tank, hook it up to an EFI pump, and you're good to go.
And you get your heads-up display, you answer a few questions, tell the computer what you got as your application, and you're on from there.
That's correct. Really nice little color touchscreen comes with it. It also has laptop capability if you need that to be able to fine-tune some things.
Now
but other than that,
that's cool. Right?
It is really cool. You can pretty much do whatever you want. It's a neat system.
And as far as the fuel system goes, you guys can either make your own fuel system or they've got a fuel system that you could drop into your tank. But if you want to make big horsepower, you've got the ability to make your own standalone fuel system.
Welcome to the Brothers Truck Parts Workshop.
We're going to be installing a brand new dash pad in this almost 40-year-old truck. And the reason being that over the years, they start to crack and they get really nasty.
This is something we get called about at the shop all the time. How do I change a dash pad on my square body? So basically what we're going to do today, walk everyone step by step through the process. And all we need is simple tools, and I'd set aside probably an hour to an hour and a half for this project.
All right, so this truck is equipped with an aftermarket radio. It's a Sony, and it's going to have to be removed so I can pull the dash panel completely out. And basically you want to start off with removing the trim. And then look on both sides of the radio. Usually you'll see a little dial, or in our case, we've got little spring-loaded locks in place. And you just unlock them with a flathead on either side, and you can go ahead and pull the radio out of its sleeve, disconnect the harness and the antenna, and put it away.
And I'm doing nothing more than just taking nuts and bolts out across the bottom of the dash. I know Sam's over here dropping the steering column, so we got the clearance to move the panel out when he gets that loose. A lot of people at home are probably going to be dealing with the same thing we are.
Absolutely.
If not, you just take the knobs off, take the nuts off behind the knobs if you still have a stock radio. So now that you have the bezel off, and I've got the screws out of this side, I think we can just go ahead and lift this up. Now there's a series of clips along the dash there, so we're basically just going to pull them straight off. Very similar to like what you'd find in an old Camaro. All right.
All right, guys, as you can see, we've done some pre-assembly on our dash pad before we installed it in the truck, and you saw me earlier replace that speaker on top of the dash because I had great access to it, and it was completely dismantled. So it's going to sound good with the new speaker. And we're going to show you how to put one of these retaining clips in that hold the dashboard in place. I've got all the other ones in, but don't be afraid to modify things as you work on them. There's always going to be a little bit of that going on whenever you install aftermarket parts. This thing's got a little tab right there. We bend it out, and then it's got a little area where it goes in onto the dashboard. You put it into that hole, and then I could take a little hammer and tap it just a little bit, just like that. That puts me right here in this slot.
Clicks right in place, just right in this little recess.
Yep.
And then some of the other stuff, like Sam mentioned, don't be afraid to you know, get out your razor blade if necessary, trim back. Some of this urethane gets thick in spots and, you know, it might hold you up from putting in your clips or even some of your speed nuts back here. So what we did is we took a razor blade and kind of cleaned this up, gave a little extra room for us to work with. And then also, before we put it in, we went ahead and chased all our holes across the bottom with a drill just to make sure they're open. We don't have any material, because these are wrapped with material, we don't have any material hanging in our way when we go to stick it in the truck. And as you can see, it's looking pretty sharp right now, and we're about ready to go stick that thing in, right?
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, we're going to go ahead and install our dash pad. We got our clips in place, and we lubed them up just a little bit to make it easier to slide in.
There we go.
See? That was nice and easy.
Yep. But this is on, it's nice, it's in place, and now we just got to put our set screws in. You need to put your dash bezel back on. Sam, I got to tell you, man, this dash looks fantastic compared to the old one, but dude, this is starting to look really tired now.
Next week, guys, tune in, and we're going to show you how to complete this project by rebuilding the instrument panel as well. All right.
Sam's Garage, presented by Low Car Performance Products, is brought to you by KBS Coatings. Rust stops here. LMC Truck. Restore, maintain, customize. Parts and accessories for Chevy, GMC, Ford, and Dodge trucks and SUVs. Bushwhacker, inventor of the Fender Flare. We've got you covered. Z-Max Micro Lubricant, the one product for your engine and fuel system.
Back when we built this car, nobody was thinking about E85. Today, it's the new popular thing, so we're going to go ahead and convert it using Red Horse Performance Racing products. They basically have a whole array of hoses and hose ends for your application. They come in swivel, they have straight, and they have the crimp style, okay? They have premium hose, black nylon, and they've got the traditional stainless. We are going to go ahead and use this black hose. It's got a nylon interior to handle the E85 that we need. They come in 3 different types of hoses: premium, performance, and PTFE. PTFE being hydraulic systems that can handle up to 1200 PSI. What we need to do to convert this car to E85 is change out the fuel injectors, all the hose and ends. And the cool thing about the hose ends with Red Hose Performance is they polish them before the anodization process, which gives them that good looking luster throughout the life of the fitting. And they come with a limited lifetime warranty. So we need to change out the injectors, the fuel pump, and all the fuel lines in order to get this thing ready for E85.
It's time for the Lund International Custom Shop.
Man, Adam, this thing looks really good.
Yes, it does.
Those wheels and tires really set off this truck. But we got a problem now. We're illegal in half the states in the country, right?
It really sets it off with these tires poking out like that.
Yep.
We've got to fix them.
Absolutely. We're going to go to Bushwhacker and we're going to install a very attractive set of Fender Flares. We had ours color matched to this vehicle. Now you guys, these pocket Fender Flares from Bushwhacker, being made right here in America for over 50 years, they're the originator of Fender Flares. They do come in color matched and in flat black, but this particular model does not come in color match, but we know a guy, so we went ahead and had them done because it looks so much better. Now Adam and I are sitting here marking it to where we need to put the brace that holds the actual fender to the truck.
Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to put the, even though it's an old truck, paint's in good shape, we want to keep it that way. So we give the rubber tape basically, and we're going to put it where the marks are so that the metal clips, because we don't like metal on metal, especially with all the brine on the road, it's going to start causing rust. So this is showing us where we want to put those at.
And even though this is an older truck, guys, I'm a master mechanic and I've been working on these types of trucks for a long time. And let me tell you, you can easily get 300,000 miles out of these trucks now. I'm feeling really good about putting the money that we're putting with all the accessories, the lift wheels and tires on this truck because I know it's going to last a long time.
We got our clips in place, so let's line the holes up in the flare with the clips and start tightening them down.
Yep.
And that should tie the rears down. And we should be good to go. I'm telling you, this is going to make the everyday truck like one of the special ones, man. This is
going to
awesome.
look just as good as the new ones that you see out on the road, lifted up from the factory. Wheels and tires, all the accessories from the factory. This is gonna look just as good, if not a little bit better. But the coolest part about it is the fact that we're saving so much money.
There we go.
Alrighty, it looks really good. All right, guys, now we're installing the front. And the cool thing is you can have a friend like I've got, Adam here, and you could even talk them into doing most of the work, like I just did, all right? And you know, these fender flares that we're installing on this truck, like we said, this is an older truck. We've already installed the inner bracket, but the cool thing is that this fender flare is gonna cover up some of the scratches that have been put in place by a previous flare that was installed on this truck. This one is gonna cover those scratches and make it look better and cover the wheels like we need them to. All right, what do I need to do, Adam?
We're going to push in the supplied push pins into the holes here.
There we go,
I got
those
you a
are
couple.
easy. And the cool thing about this setup, guys, is there is no pre-drilling, there is no cutting. Everything bolts up pretty quickly. You can get it done in a couple hours with a buddy. All right, that's not bad. And if you're like Adam and I, a little bit older and you can't see, you might want to use a light in these dark places, okay?
Flashlights are your friend.
They really are your friend.
All
Does
right, now-
hardware go down there?
Yep. One thing we noticed on the truck, obviously if we're working on a used truck, some of the factory parts that we call out in our directions may not still be factory. So kind of bear with it when you start working on your used truck and finding out what goes where. This one actually had a Phillips head, but Ford should have a hex bolt in there, but this works just as good. Goes right into our hole, right into the factory spot, tightens that back down, and bam, we are DUN done.
Man, that looks really good, and it's going to do the job by covering our wheels, making us legal.
It is. Once we get everything finished up, handy dandy edge trim tool, we'll go around, we'll dress the edge trim back up, make sure it's a nice tight, snug fit all the way around.
And this comes with the trim already installed on it.
The color match does come with the trim and the jewelry already installed on it, so that's kind of a plus. But folks like me that may have to have them painted, you're still going to have to put the edge trim on. But hey, check out some videos. We've got some videos.
The quality and the fit of this Bushwhacker fender is exactly what this truck needed. Don't you agree?
She's ready, baby.